This episode, I'm going to talk you through deep cleaning a small area. Usually, I talk you through your housework room by room, but in this episode, I'm going to assume that you're hyper focusing on a single area. This could be one wall, one corner, one window, even. And we're going to talk about removing the clutter, and then we're going to talk about cleaning the surfaces. And I'm going to get into just the ins and outs of cleaning your baseboards. I'm going to tell you how professional house cleaners do it. And you may be thinking, I need to get my whole house presentable fast. If that's the case, this is not the episode for you. This is an episode for as you detail small areas of your home. And you might be thinking, well, why would I do that? Okay, not everyone has time to do like a major spring cleaning. And it's not spring when I'm saying this, but that's the popular term. We could call it a fall cleaning. But not everybody has the time to dedicate to that. In fact, most of us don't. Life keeps happening. And even if we set aside a day, maybe a Saturday where the whole family's working together, and we get a lot done because our family often works together cleaning out the garage on a random Saturday. But are we really going to give our entire house an overhaul in one day? Even with the whole crew working, it's not going to be as deep of a clean when you're trying to get the whole house done. Okay. So first thing I want you to do is pick your area. Okay. Maybe it's one wall of your living room. Maybe it's a corner, a cluttered corner of a bedroom, office, kids' room. Maybe it's the wall where the toy box is in your kids' room. Maybe it's a wall that has a window. Maybe it's a wall that has a piece of furniture on it. For example, you might pick the wall where you have a couch, and you're going to remove the cushions and clean everything out and vacuum out that couch, but you're also going to move the couch and clean the baseboard. Okay. Or maybe it's a wall where you have a smaller piece of furniture, like a dresser or a desk. And maybe there are some items under your desk and around your desk, on your desk. The desk wall could be your area of focus. I'm just giving you some ideas, but I want you to pick either an area that's a problem or just an area that you feel like you could tackle, within this 20-minute episode. And for this first segment, I don't want you to worry about the cleaning products and cleaning tools. The first thing you're going to do is declutter. Okay. You're going to declutter the area. And I guess if you're working in an area that doesn't have any clutter, maybe you're just working on a blank wall with a window or something, and you want to clean the windowsills, the baseboards, you could always fast forward this episode, maybe fast forward like 5 minutes ahead. We're going to spend 5 minutes on removing clutter. An example of a recent decluttering project that I did was clearing out my piano bench. I took everything out of it, threw some stuff away, relocated some stuff, and just put the items back in that I wanted to keep in there. Often the areas that have clutter are not these empty walls. Usually a cluttered area involves furniture because things can be hiding around the furniture, under the furniture. You're going to need at least a trash bag, and then you're going to be sorting things into piles. And you might even need a broom if you're having to pull things out from under a heavy piece of furniture that's too hard for you to move. But for the next few minutes, we're going to be removing clutter from your area of focus. And just while you're doing that, putting things in the trash, putting things in a pile, of stuff that you're going to relocate to other areas of the house, or maybe there's also a donation pile. Okay. While you're sorting through this clutter and dealing with it, and let's face it, a lot of it might be trash. You might be in a kid room and there could be some broken toys and things that you're throwing away. I'm not sure what your decluttering project is, but you're removing the clutter and sorting it. And while you're doing that, I'll just talk about why you would hyper focus on one area. By the way, if you do want to get your whole house clean at once, a lot of the bonus episodes for paid subscribers have you getting your whole house clean at once. Special thanks to those who are already supporting the show financially, either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Patreon, or some other less common way. When you try to spring clean your whole house, so to speak, something's got to give. And there's a time for that. There's a place for that. Obviously, sometimes we have a deadline where we need to get our whole house looking as good as possible. Obviously these deadlines are self-imposed, but it could be that you're having a birthday party at your house. It could be that you're having overnight guests. It could be that your spouse has been out of town and you want to surprise him or her with a clean house. Or you could be preparing for a new baby or another busy season of life, perhaps taking on a new job. These episodes are timeless, so I don't like to go on and on about a particular season. I mean, I do have some episodes that are real seasonal, but this is definitely an anytime episode, an evergreen episode. You could be listening to this any time of the year. And please realize I'm using spring cleaning as a figure of speech. But most of us don't have the time or energy to do all of our spring cleaning in one weekend. Life keeps happening. People are still expecting to be fed. Our energy levels are limited. But if you have something coming up that's not just imminent, instead of having to do like a crisis clean where you do your best to get the whole house looking good, within a day or two, you could start deep cleaning one area at a time, either once a day or once a week, and just chip away at the deep cleaning tasks, while of course keeping up on your daily stuff. Okay, I'm talking about spending maybe 20 minutes a day or 20 minutes a week hyper focusing on a certain area, and then in that way you're systematically getting your whole house detailed. I'm recording this episode in September, and kind of what I have in mind for myself is Thanksgiving. Okay, so if you are expecting company over the holidays, could be overnight guests, could be just one day that you're hosting a get together, you could already be preparing for that by deep cleaning one area at a time. And then you might not have to shut that back bedroom door or the office door or, put a rope by your staircase to keep people from going upstairs. I know someone who did that, and I just thought, well, if they wouldn't have done that, I probably would have assumed the upstairs was clean. It's going to feel good to be able to just open up every room. Oh, you can use my bathroom. I mean, how impressed are you when you're at a party and someone offers to let you use their bathroom because they see you standing in line at the bathroom and the door's shut? And then you go into their bedroom to access that master bathroom and their bedroom is super pristine. I'm thinking of a specific person right now. Okay, before I delve into this topic a little more, I want you to move on to the next step. For this step, I want you to gather up your cleaning supplies. And maybe you have some piles and things to deal with. Quickly deal with what you can. Throw away the trash. Maybe you need a broom and dustpan. Whatever trash you found and debris you found, get that thrown away. Okay. Put your donatables into a box or a bag that you can take out to the trunk of your car later. Or maybe you have a large container somewhere, a donation station in the back of your closet, and you're just going to kind of add it to that container and deal with it later. That's fine too. Maybe you need to quickly relocate some items around the house, or maybe you want to just put them in a basket and deal with them later. But we're moving on to the surfaces, and I want you to gather up some supplies for this. We're going to sweep and mop or vacuum at the end. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about surfaces. I'm talking more about things like windows, windowsills, furniture, okay, like maybe the surface of your desk or your piano. Or if you were cleaning debris out of your couch cushions, this could mean like spot cleaning your couches. It could be wiping down a hard piece of furniture. Basically, all of the surfaces other than the floor itself are what we're going to be focusing on in this next step. So you want to get some cleaning supplies together. You want a rag, you want some kind of a brush, either a toothbrush or a soft bristled cleaning brush of some sort. Obviously, when the brush is a little bigger than a toothbrush, you can get your cleaning done faster. If there is a baseboard in the area you're focusing on, and most likely there is because a lot of times our cluttered areas are near the walls. If you've got a lot of like grimy buildup, especially on the kind of that top edge of your baseboard, you're going to want some type of a cleaning product, but don't get it wet just yet. It's easier to dry clean a baseboard first, dry dust it before you wet clean it. But if you have a ton of buildup, there's a product called Crud Cutter Tough Task. Pretty easy to find if you're here in the United States. Obviously, I don't know what they have in other countries, but I'm sure you have a comparable degreaser. And Crud Cutter is on the list of safer products, so I think it's, fairly clean. Obviously, you might not have that product on hand right now, but you probably have some other type of multi-purpose spray. But bonus points if you have some kind of degreaser, especially if you have buildup on your baseboards. If you're dealing with scuff marks and you happen to have a magic eraser, get that wet. It's one of those sponges. It kind of looks like a sponge, but it's not a sponge. A wet magic eraser, get it wet, and that's going to be for your scuff marks on baseboards or possibly doors. Oh, you might need a Swiffer duster or some type of a duster, whether it's a short one or on a pole, okay, a dusting tool. And then last but not least, a microfiber cloth and some glass cleaner. Now, microfiber cloth is the best thing that I've found for cleaning windows and shiny furniture like my piano, mirrors, of course. However, in a pinch, you can always use paper towels. It's going to leave some tiny bits of fuzz, but it's really not that bad. And when I grew up, my mom always cleaned all the mirrors with paper towels. It's not the end of the world if that's what you're using. Okay. But add some of these things to your grocery list if you wish you had them. Okay. Obviously, right now, you're going to clean with what you have. Where I got the idea for purchasing Crud Cutter is from this lady, Angela Brown from Ask a House Cleaner. I was interviewed on her show a while back. She hasn't made any YouTube videos in I think like a year. I hope she's okay. Great lady. And she's a professional house cleaner, so she has some amazing tips. And a lot of the knowledge I'm going to give you about baseboards in this episode comes from her. And I shared her video on the Clean With Me podcast Facebook page if you want to watch her actual video on it. But I'm going to touch on some of what she talked about. Okay, now that you have all of your supplies together, it is time to start working on the surfaces. Okay, you've removed clutter from that corner or that piece of furniture or both. Now it's time to wipe that surface down. Whether you're wiping down a desk or you're washing a window inside and out. Like maybe you picked a blank wall, and just be working on whatever your area is. Use those tools to clean the surfaces while I talk. Don't waste too much time wondering what I'm going to say next. I'm going to be talking about a few different things, and not all of them are going to apply to the area you're working on. But if you pick just a wall that has a window and there's not any furniture there, and maybe you fast forwarded to this part because there wasn't clutter to deal with, you're going to want to spray and wash the inside of the window, possibly even go outside and clean the outside of it. Something that I just love doing lately is taking my Swiffer mop, and it's the kind that's designed to put that pre-moistened pad on, and you wrap that pad around it and you kind of push it into some holes. Well, you can attach a microfiber cloth to that mop instead of that pre-moistened pad. Then you spray the window or the mirror that you're working on with a glass cleaner and basically mop the window. It works so well. I'm telling you, it's so fast and thorough, and you just go over it a couple times, and it just gives you a wonderful streak-free, clean mirror or window. Now, obviously, sometimes your exterior windows are dirtier. You might need to power wash them with the hose, or, you know, get the mud off of them first. I think this applies most if you're cleaning a sliding glass door and your dogs have been jumping up with muddy paws. Obviously, at that point, you're not ready to just use a glass cleaner and a microfiber cloth. You might want to spray down that window with a hose and, brush it with like that tool you use to wash the cars or something, to get rid of the surface dirt and mud. And then you can do clean it with glass cleaner and microfiber. Okay. And if the sliding glass door area is your area of focus, you would clean that sliding glass door inside and out. And you would also want to take your vacuum and vacuum all the dust and debris out of the track of the door. But once you've cleaned the piece of furniture, whether you're spot cleaning a couch or you're wiping a smooth piece of furniture down, you're going to want to turn your attention to the baseboard. Okay? And maybe you cleaned a window and a windowsill. But with baseboards, it's easier to dry dust them first. I think I already mentioned that it's easier to dry dust them first. Professional house cleaners dust the baseboards every time. You know how they'll charge you more for a deep cleaning than like a routine cleaning? On those routine maintenance cleanings, they're just dry dusting the baseboards because there's not a lot of buildup. But keeping that dry dust at bay will prevent your baseboards from getting grimy and harder to clean. But even if they already are grimy, you want to kind of dust them off with a brush first before you apply a cleaning product to them. So you quickly dry dust them, then you're going to wet clean them by using your crud cutter or whatever else. But here, the crud cutter's available at like Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and there are a lot of crud cutter products, but the one you would probably use on your baseboards is the Tough Task. It's for, cleaning greasy, grimy areas. And maybe you have a baseboard cleaning tool that keeps you from having to bend if you have a bad back or something. But a lot of us are just getting down on our hands and knees and scrubbing that. Spray some stuff on it, clean it with a brush, and then wipe it with the rag. Remember, you had a rag that wasn't your microfiber, just a rag. Of course, if you've already used your microfiber on the window or mirror and you don't mind dirtying it up, you can use that to kind of wipe the cleaner off of the baseboard. And again, that magic eraser will work for scuff marks. Sometimes, kids or your spouse are vacuuming and they're just slamming the vacuum into the baseboards and it's leaving little scuff marks. And don't get me wrong, sometimes after cleaning your baseboards, you're like, I just need to paint these. You might need to add that to your to-do list or your honey-do list. But I mean, my sister is famous for doing a lot of home improvement projects on her own. And it's not that the rest of us aren't capable, just some of us don't want to do it. I do these projects when I have to. There was a time when I was moving and we kept getting like bad reviews, bright colors throughout, because I had done kind of an ocean theme in the bathroom. And you know how when you're looking at the color swatches and you're not a professional decorator or whatever, you don't realize that the paint's going to look a lot darker once you get it on the wall, compared to what it looks like on that card. So I was trying to sell a house and the guest bathroom was a really bright blue. And you get feedback after the showings, where the real estate agent is typing in what her clients commented about your house. They were saying bright colors throughout, but it was a 4-bedroom house. Most of it was neutral except for that guest bathroom and one of the kid bedrooms. But I decided with a 4-bedroom house, a buyer should be okay with like one bright green bedroom. And it was like that sponging that was popular for a while. So it was kind of, the walls in that one bedroom were kind of crazy, something that I had allowed a teenager to do. Bottom line is, my husband was already working in another state, and I was kind of traveling back and forth to visit him. I had 4 kids at the time. My youngest was a baby, like 9 months old. So it was kind of an ordeal painting that large guest bathroom myself, because in the bathroom you've got to tape off a lot. There are a lot of obstacles. It's not like you're just painting a blank wall. But I did do a great job, and as soon as I got it painted white, the house sold. But normally that's the type of thing I would ask my husband to do, but he was not able to at that time. And yes, I've mowed lawns before and stuff, but in general, I give him that kind of stuff. So yes, I realize you're capable of things when I say put it on the honey-do list, but you're probably already doing a lot of housework. And of course, if you did choose a window, you're going to want to dust the blinds, maybe wash the curtains. Or if it was a hard piece of furniture that you were decluttering on and around, you might want to kind of decorate it, decide which items you're going to place on it, and kind of position them in an aesthetically pleasing way. Those finishing touches are kind of the fun part. And if you're like me and you kind of have a deadline that's far out, if you're preparing for something that's a couple months out, maybe after this episode, you can make a list of deep cleaning projects, or you can just kind of systematically work your way around your home. Like if you started with that wall where your living room window is, maybe you're going to just turn the corner and focus on the next wall where one of the couches is, and just kind of work your way around the perimeter of your house systematically. Or if there are just a few problem areas, you could make a list and start checking them off, each day or each week as you get those done. But by spending only a few minutes on these hyper-focused projects, it allows you to kind of do your daily tasks. Don't sacrifice having, your dishes done every day to deep clean an area. Ideally, you want to do both. At this point in the episode, I want to encourage you to clean the floor either by vacuuming or sweeping and mopping. Okay, that's the last step. And of course, if you had some items that you put in a basket, you're going to want to put those away. Things that are in your relocation pile, or maybe you need to take that trash bag you filled up to your outdoor trash bin. But for the sake of keeping this episode short, you might need to just put on your cleaning playlist after this. It's a good idea to have a playlist of music that gets you in the mood for cleaning. Bonus points if it's not the same music that you listen to while you're in the car, because you want to kind of condition yourself to clean when you hear certain songs. Anyway, I hope you decluttered an area and cleaned those upper surfaces and cleaned the baseboard on that wall or on those 2 walls if you're cleaning a corner, and that you're finishing out with the floors. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you in the next episode.